Laura,
Hello, Joseph.
hello.
How are you?
I'm very good. High
Thank you.
five. High
High five.
five. We made it.
How are
So
you doing, Joseph?
I'm doing great and thrilled to talk to you and to celebrate with you. It's over and appreciative that you are willing to talk with me and, share your journey with others to inspire and help them. So congratulations and thank
Thank
you,
you.
Laura.
Thank you, Joseph, for inviting me, for having
Well
me
done.
here.
So, Laura, first, you know, take it away just to share. A lot of students enjoy, like when you watch success stories, a little bit of introduction about you. How did you start your TOEFL journey? What are you taking it for? All that good stuff.
Okay, so I will introduce myself. So I'm Laura. I'm from Colombia, and this is honestly my fifth time taking the TOEFL because the first time I took it was because I want to start a master school in the United States. So I applied for different visiting scholars. So I got first, my first visiting scholar was at Purdue University
Cool.
in the United States. However, they didn't ask me for take any proficiency of an English language. However, I took it and I failed it, and
Hmm.
then I continue studying it. However, I started working in other universities as a visiting scholar, so I have been there for three different times. Now I realize like if I want to keep growing and keep studying in the United States as a master school, as a master student, I will have to take the TOEFL. I will have to succeed with the TOEFL.
Yeah.
So I start studying first through books and a lot of material that a lot of people that were students in the previous universities that I was studying, they shared me with that material. However, I start uh, like studying with them, and then I realized like I have to take even like a class with someone, for example, that an expert in that topic
So
in
as
how
you
to
started
succeed. So,
studying, you kind of noticed you need a bit more, something more in
yes,
depth. You weren't really feeling improvement.
yes, exactly. Because so the first time that I took the TOEFL, so my score was too low, like 45, and I realized like, wow, I have to study a lot, even because I realized like the TOEFL, the people that are taking the TOEFL has to be aware that the TOEFL is so you have to study just for the TOEFL. So it doesn't matter if you know English or if you are capable of speaking it. So you have to study for the TOEFL because
Yeah.
all of the tricks and stuff, a lot of stuff. So then I start studying. However, yeah, I feel stuck because I feel like I have no like keeping like advancing like on my self studying. I don't know why. Maybe I thought that I need some tips, some hints that like an expert person could share with me. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Very cool. And just to kind of build up a little bit more awareness, can you share uh, what you're studying? Like you were a visiting scholar in what subject and what you're working to get
Okay.
your master's degree in?
Okay. Yeah. I started working in. So my degree, my major here was agronomic engineering. I finished it on 2019. And then I start pursuing like different insights beyond Colombia about different, for example, advancement in technology, in different agricultural practices. So
Wow,
it was
so
like,
agricultural engineering. Very
yes,
cool.
agricultural engineering. So yeah, that was my first idea. So I start looking for some internships in different, so in United States, in different states. And I applied for one in the horticultural landscape at Purdue
Wow.
with a professor over there working in wheat science, everything related with undesirable plants. So I started working with them, and I I am very passionate with that field.
Very
And then,
cool.
yeah,
Yeah. And so when you were applying for a master's degree, my understanding is usually you want to be competitive with your TOEFL score, and they often have minimums for most schools like 80 to 100. Did
yeah.
you, when you got your 45, what were you working towards to get accepted to universities for your master's? What minimum score?
So that's interesting because I want to, from the beginning, I was like, okay, if I have the opportunity to start a visiting scholar, I can like jump to a master position. For example, if the professor likes my work and I
Hmm.
like my professor, I can work with him and keep how to say that, like go straight to a master school. So in all of the universities they have different requirements for the TOEFL exam. For example, Purdue was something like 86. I remember then I was in Madison and was the highest one that I the highest score was like 92, something like that. So then I realized like, okay, I have to keep going and studying. So as I mentioned you before, so I didn't, so my professors, when they gave me the opportunity to start the visiting scholar with them, so they didn't ask me for that proficiency of English. So, however, even though I want to uh, like present the exams and know how I'm doing with the English. So I
Yeah.
just test myself because I was like, okay, I want to know how is the exam, what is my strengthens my weakness, and all of those stuff. So then, yeah, I think depends of the university. They have different scores. I mean, when I was in Penn State University, that was my last time in the
Hmm.
United States. Over there was 80. So that was
Yeah.
my TOEFL dream score
Yeah,
at
very
this moment.
cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, for most master, like undergraduate, usually is 80, 70 to 90.
hmm,
Graduate, master's, PhD is like, as you said, 80 to 100. It depends on the program, depends on the score,
from
on
the school. Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah.
So you had your 45, you knew you needed some work to get your master's. And so this is where I think also for the success story, it starts to come in like knowing your background, getting a degree in the United States, you're passionate about your subject, you want to get better. So can you share kind of your journey? When was that? When did you take your first TOEFL? Do you remember when?
Was November 2021.
November 2021. So
Yes.
can you talk a little bit about your study journey from that point to success? Now, and to share your final score on the TOEFL, the one that gave you success. Do you
So
remember that?
yeah, was 84.
Yeah. So a 39-point improvement.
Yes.
39 points. So high
Yeah.
five. High five. That's
Thank you.
remarkable. And so can you share a little bit about how that occurred, how you studied, how many hours a
Okay.
week, what you worked with, that good stuff?
Okay. Okay. Yeah. The first time that I present the exam was because I want to test me. So I didn't study, to be honest.
Hmm.
I just was okay. I have been here in United States for 6 months because my first arrival over there was in June 2021. So then I started speaking, practicing with a lot of professors. For me was at the beginning really scared because I
Yeah.
was, oh my God, I don't know what I did. How can I handle this? Because I don't my English level was not really bad at that moment, but I haven't practiced it a lot being here in Colombia. So I think I lost a lot of uh, things, skills with the English. So
Hmm.
then I start practicing and practicing, so I feel a little bit comfortable with me. So then I was like, okay, I will try to take the exam because I want to know how is the exam and everything. But I didn't take any course. I didn't study for that time. So that was my first time. The second time was like 1 year ahead, was on November 2022. And at that moment, I was in another university doing a research intern in the same field that I have been working on. So, to be honest, I studied just a little bit. I don't study a lot because I think I knew the possibility for me, all of the options to keep working as a visiting scholar was always I know that I want to that I will go to work as a visiting scholar like 1 month after my finish my previous visiting scholar. You know what I mean? So
Hmm.
uh, I have in mind like, okay, I will go to another university. They don't need a proficiency of English, so I don't want to study for that, because I
Yeah.
want to work and I don't have in my mind these kind of things. So I was like, okay, I can wait for another month, or another year to start working seriously for the exam. So
Yes.
that was my second time, but I improved because practicing 1 year every day and writing stuff and speaking and listening, I think that helps me a lot. But I just saw an improvement in the speaking section. For example, I boosted like 10 points, something like
Bravo. So
because
your second exam was like 55?
64 was
64.
64.
Excellent. So that shows everybody, yeah, and it's true, from a 45 to a 64, just exposing yourself to English, maybe not even feeling too much pressure with the TOEFL, seriously speaking, seriously reading, seriously practicing, you're going to get into the 60s, even to maybe the 70s. So
Yeah.
after the second TOEFL,
Yeah, so after the second TOEFL, I knew that I was going to start another visiting scholar in another university. So I was like, okay, I can wait a little bit, and I can study harder, like in that while I am working in the United States, because I feel like I had a lot of improvement on those years. So when I took the third exam, that was 1 year ahead, like in 2023, October 2023, that was the first time that I studied hard. I
mhm,
mean, because at that moment, my professor wants to give me an opportunity as a master's student, because the last professors want me, but the problem was like they don't have a lot of funding
mhm.
to sponsor my work in the United States. So I was like, okay, I have to keep finding a new professor. So when the last professor gave me that opportunity, I was very serious about studying with that exam, because I was like, okay, that's my chance to pass the exam and start a master school. So that's why the third time
Wow.
I think I start working hard with that, and I start studying the material that a lot of people have shared with me before. A lot of students like have been passed through the same situation. They
Hmm.
was like, okay, I have this material. So it's interesting, Joseph, because at Purdue,
Hmm.
one of the girls, the friend that I got, she shared me your NoteFull, your website.
Hmm.
So I took a look about the website, but that's the thing. So I haven't in mind like, okay, I have to
I think you probably felt what most students
study
feel.
with
It's
that.
like, this is too much. Did you feel
Yeah,
that?
no, kind of, but that was very interesting, because I saw like I skim a little bit, and then I saw like you have very complete program about like practicing. So I was like, okay, that's interesting, but for me it was like it's not necessary for me now.
Hmm.
you
Hmm.
know,
Hmm.
that was my feeling, because even I got too many mock TOEFL mock
Practice tests. Yeah.
practices test and everything, but I was not very serious at that moment. However, my third time, I remember I studied. First, I studied a book, because
Mhm.
a lot of people was advising me like that. Was like, oh, you have to read this book and go for this book. And I remember that I reviewed the whole book. I did all of practices, and I improved. So because I think when I start feeling that my score was like improving from the second one, I was like, okay, I have to keep working on that, and I have to keep like cleaning some stuff and working in my weaknesses, because I at that moment I really know what was my weaknesses because of the two previous TOEFL exams that I took. So I start working hard with that. However, I feel like a little bit sad because I haven't passed the exam. So the third time I presented, I boosted like 15 points more, so I got like 75. So, like
Bravo.
75 points. Yeah,
That's great. 45 to about
64.
64 to 75.
It was like 10 points each time.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah, and then I was like, okay, I have to wait another year to maybe increase
Mm.
another 10
So it
points.
was disappointing because you wanted your score there. The application deadline may be passed, so you have to wait for the next year to apply.
No, at that moment I realized, so I look into all of the graduate school process.
Mm.
I reached out the person who was in charge of the graduate school in my university, and she told me that the deadline for the fall 2024 was going to be on March 29 of this year. So it's almost in 10 days
10 days, yeah,
from
from
now.
this interview.
So at that moment, I was like, okay, I have to apply like before because I was thinking about that, like if I don't, what if I don't pass the exam? So I have to take it, retake it, retake it. So I want to be sure that I will have this gap between the exam and the deadline if
Hmm.
something happens. If I don't
Hmm.
pass it, I have to reschedule it and I will have to do it again. So since I realized like this third time I presented of November and I was kind of like confident about like okay maybe with that study I haven't studied a lot but I can succeed this time. However, I think the time at that moment wasn't enough for me. For example, I was working a lot in the field, collecting stuff, so doing work related with my field. So I just study like in the evenings or nights, or sometimes in the weekends, on the
Hmm.
weekend. So I don't have a lot of time. So I was like, okay, maybe that's one of the things that I can handle. Maybe I can work so 3 times a week, and then I can leave the other 2 days to completely study the TOEFL. Even I talked with my advisor at that moment. He was like, okay, just take the time that you need to prepare yourself for the exam
Wow, that's great.
because because he passed with that with he passed through the same situation. He's a Brazilian person, so
Hmm.
he was a PhD student, so he studied for the exam as well. So I was like, okay, I will put on your shoes because I know
That's
how would it.
cool.
Yeah.
So
So
he himself went through the journey you are and now is an established professor.
yes, exactly. Yeah,
Very
something like
cool.
that's interesting. Yeah, the second professor, my second advisor was from Brazil as well. So it was the same situation, visiting a scholar, and then he is now a professor. So that's very interesting. So yeah, he helped me a lot. But however, I didn't pass it as I failed it, as I told you. But I feel disappointed, but was like, okay, I still have time. But that was the switch, like yeah, kind of switch because I was like, I want to present it again. So I was like, there are just 5 points missing.
Hmm.
So I rescheduled it like 1 month ahead. So if
So
I
you just
represent
you needed your minimum of 80 and you're done.
80.
Hmm.
Yes, exactly. So yeah, they are asking me for a 90 in the speaking section, and the others has to be so gathered together. They have to be like 80 points. So,
Minimum 19 in the speaking, 80 total.
yes, 80 total. Yes, exactly. So at that moment, I was like, okay, there are just 5 points missing. So I was thinking that okay, I can reschedule it like 1 month ahead if I keep working hard. And I was kind of like in a rush.
Mm.
So I was like, no, my deadline. So my last day over there, so the end day as a visiting scholar, the last year was in December 31st. So it was like, if I want to go back to my country, I want to have this TOEFL already passed, because I don't want to start thinking about, okay, I have to keep studying or I have to, I don't know. I want to do it like to have done that
Have some
exam
peace of
before.
mind, feel
Yes, exactly.
comfortable.
Exactly. So I was like, okay, I have to reschedule it. So I rescheduled it 10 days before my last day over there.
Hmm.
So I was like, it's okay, it's fine, I will succeed. So that was the problem because I presented. So I keep studying hard. I mean, I didn't review. I
Hmm.
didn't review the things that I have studied, that I learned. I mean, I didn't review all the sections again. So I start doing like practices test.
Hmm.
I realized that I have an improvement over like doing those practices tests. However, when I presented and I got my scores, I realized that my scores just boosted 1 point. So it
So you
was
got a
like 70.
76 on your fourth.
Yes, exactly. So at that moment, I realized that there is something missing that I cannot handle, or there is something that, like a person or whatever thing, needs to for me to improve. To
Hmm.
to boost the score. So I feel stuck, and I was like, okay, let's see. So and at that moment, so the first thing that popped up in my mind was your page, your
Great.
website. At that moment, I was like, wow, but I have that material. So even I studied a little bit that material in the practices, for the practices, because it was like gathering all of material practices that I got for practice and everything. But then I was like, okay, but Joseph is a professor, so I can try to reach out to him and ask him what are which possibilities I have to boost, because you have a lot of different sections, the golden
Hmm.
courses, the individual uh, tutorial, something like that. So it was
Yeah.
like, okay, I will see what is the next gold course. So I saw that at that moment your next gold course will be on January and February. That was
Hmm.
the exam, the course that I got, that I took, and that was perfect for me. So that fits in the perfect for me, because I was like, okay, if I studied his course, is gonna end up on in February, and I have time to present the exam on March, and I will
And
succeed.
whenever I have that, everyone comes, I feel pressure too, because I feel like I'm taking the TOEFL with you.
Yeah.
Because I know you're coming for such a strong purpose. So perfect. It worked out. And with that course, as you were studying, how many hours a week were you studying? And how many hours a week did you find was the time that really helped you improve? Like, what did you feel was too little? What did you feel was enough as you were studying for your exams and even the gold course, the online classes with us?
Yeah, okay. At that moment, I realized, like, first, that if you gave me, so be like a guide for me in the TOEFL, make me realize some stuff that were missing and I was not taking in count at that moment. So first, I thought that that is gonna be helpful. It was gonna be helpful. And the second, so when I was skimming your TOEFL page, yeah, the not full page, I realized, like, you have like a schedule,
Hmm.
prepared for each student that is taking the exam or the course. So I was like, okay, I think for me, I realized, like, the schedule that I took from you was very helpful, so that uh, allowed me to succeed this time, because I realized, like, the time that I was studying now is enough. So I studied like 24 hours per week.
Bravo,
It was like,
bravo.
so I was like, I think this is gonna be help me a lot, because the last time I didn't know what to study, how to study. I was just practicing, but I was like, I have that in my mind, was like, okay, if I practice new material, I will improve. But I
Hmm.
realized, like, it's not the new material that will give me that skill, that strength. Is practicing stuff again and again and again. That teaching that I took from you was very helpful and was very valuable for me, because I
Yeah,
realized, like, yeah, I think that helped me a lot. And the schedule, all the schedules and the magic courses and everything, for example, the habits, was another
yeah.
thing that was very helpful for me. This
I
was
hope
the
you keep
first
doing
time.
them. Will you, just I know everyone's watching. I hope they feel good energy, they get inspired, they know what works. So sorry to interrupt, but I want to also say this for you and everybody. So our habits are building your pronunciation, building your reading comprehension, your writing skill, all the things for the TOEFL. Are you going to keep doing any of them now that you passed?
Yes, for sure.
Good. High five.
Yeah. Yes, for example, I have been reading the Switch book.
Great. The
I
nonfiction book.
Yes, the nonfiction book called like Switch. I don't remember the other part of the book,
Hmm.
but I am like in the middle of the book, and it was really helpful as well, and it was really interesting. I mean, I
Good.
liked it a lot. I think that built up my comprehension in the moment that I start reading in the TOEFL. In the exam that I took was like, okay, I realize like this is the time that I have to get, and this is how I have to read. Because I have been practicing with that habit. So that's helped me a lot. And I think like from now on, I have been watching all movies and everything in English. Even
Awesome.
even without club captions. Sometimes it's like okay, for me it's like if I want to improve, I don't have to get the club captions for everything, because if I want to keep speaking with someone else, that person doesn't have like club caption.
Yeah.
I have to keep like improving my
Maybe in the future,
listening
but
and
not yet.
everything. Yeah, something like that. Yes, exactly. But yeah, it's like kind of uh, like put me like, how to say that? Yeah, it was like very successful. Like, I mean, that was very helpful for me as well.
Kind of put you in the right mindset to
Yes,
improve. So
yes,
you're
exactly.
studying 24 hours a week. You're
Yeah,
you're following the course, which is comprehensive. You're doing the training, you're reviewing the material, the classes, you're doing the assigned homework, getting a nonfiction book, all these things. And so you succeeded with your fifth exam of an 84.
yeah,
Bravo. Do you remember your scores in each section?
yeah. I was 21 in all of them. That's like
Well,
even.
that's perfect. Wow, so disciplined. Perfect.
Yeah,
Wonderful.
that's even. Yeah,
And so for everybody watching, over the journey since 2021, right? Beautifully, you took the course, you studied 24 hours, and you improved from the 76 to an 84, 21 in each section. And because you worked hard, you took advantage of it 24 hours a week. So, great reminder for everybody 12 to 24 hours, so powerful and important. Now, for each section, reading, listening, speaking, writing, do you have maybe one major tip for students similar to you working to break into the 20 pluses for like what helped you most for each of those sections to improve?
you mean like how I got the 21
Yeah,
score,
for
something like
each
that?
section, like what you felt helped you
Yeah,
most to do
I
that.
think Yeah, I think at the beginning, I think in all sections for me, that helps me a lot first was Froggy. To be honest, I all the time used it. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, I have to center myself. I have to calm down, because I was struggling for that. Like even from the last TOEFL's exams that I took, So I was like very stressed out. I was like, no, my God, I was taking every section like very stressful. So I was like, no, I have to change that mindset. I have to do something. So I think Froggy helps me a lot this time.
Yeah, Froggy. So just for everyone to know, many are familiar, but if not, that's our character that symbolizes a kind of peaceful place where we're practicing our deep breathing with our eyes closed, positive thinking to center ourselves through stress during the exam and when we study. So I love that that's the first thing you mentioned. That helped you a lot.
Yeah, that's helped me a lot. For example, in the reading, I realized like that was my first time taking like answer words for each paragraph. I haven't done that before. For example, I haven't that in my mind. So this time works a lot, because I think the summarized question was very doable. I did it.
Hmm.
I think I did it well, better. I don't know. Maybe I got
Of
maybe at least
course.
1 point of them. So I think that was an improvement. I think that helped me as well. And the time management. So even I thought that was my challenge. The challenging part for me in the exam was the time management. However, I realized like, okay, if I don't get this question, if I don't know if I am try, if even if I try to get the question, the answer from the paragraph, and I haven't get it, so I was like, okay, I have to keep going. I have to continue. I don't have to waste a lot of time, because the last time if I presented, I realized that I got like 14, 15 points in the TOEFL. I mean, the last score.
For the
uh,
reading
last
section?
time from the previous no, from the previous TOEFL that I took,
Hmm.
was like 15 points in the reading section. But I
Hmm.
think was because I spent a lot of time just in one question, and I was not like like aware about the time at that moment, because now I realize like, okay, I have in my mind, I how to say that, like I memorize all of the times that
Hmm.
I have. So that was very helpful, because I was like, okay, I am almost in the half of the time of the time of the reading section, so I have to be in the second passage. So I think that was very helpful for me. Even at the end, there were like there were left like 2 minutes or 1 minute that I
Great.
have to review everything. And even I changed one of the question that
All
I thought
right.
was. So I think that helps me a lot. I was like, okay, for me this is the question, so I have to keep going.
Yeah.
Don't waste a lot of time in one question. That helped me a lot, a lot.
Time management for the reading,
Yeah,
guessing is your friend, stay
yeah,
on time, move forward. Every question gets its even focus. Bravo. And Froggy to keep you calm throughout.
yeah.
And for the listening, what did you find was kind of a big thing to help you succeed there?
I will see the how do you call I forgot the word now, but it's like when you do like dots, and then you
Ah,
start like
indentation, like
indentation.
improving
Yes,
your note taking,
yes,
right?
yes. That's the indentation. I think that helped me as well, because the way that I have been taken like the notes
Hmm.
was like with arrows, and all
Hmm.
the arrows was like doing a spiral, and at the end I was like, oh my god, I don't know what is that, or I don't know why I wrote down that, you know. And then I was like, okay, the indentation was really, really, really helpful, because
Bravo.
yeah, because it was really easy for me to find the answer. Was like, okay, so I was like struggling with the time at that moment, but I was like, okay, I can understand better the listening, I can take better notes, and I think that was the key for succeed in that list.
Bravo.
Was that because I think yeah, sorry, go
Oh
ahead.
no, go ahead.
No, I think because I have been I'm aware that have been I'm capable of like understand the listening, but sometimes it's like, okay, but how can I write down everything? How can I know if
Yeah.
this is the beginning of this is the part of explanation of extra information? So I think the indentation was helpful for me.
Yeah, and I think just to help everybody know when we teach note taking, a lot of it's just as you said, being able to order your notes smooth, fast, clear, easy reference. And indentation is where, we take notes down a line, and then when we know we're listening to a detail of something else, like it's being explained, we move to the right. So just like seeing that helps you know, okay, this is a unit of information. This is the main point. These are the details. These are the examples. So that's what you're referencing helped you, right? The listening that way, taking notes that way, being able to see it and remember and understand what you heard.
Yeah, yeah, I think that helped me a lot. And I think overall, the strategy that you teach, taught me like from all of the lessons, was like I have to. So if I am stuck in any of the steps that you taught me about how the strategy of all of the sections, I was like, okay, I can go back. What is the step that I have to go back So you have to start again, like taking a look my notes and what I have to do, because
Yeah.
before was like I don't know what to do. If I have to guess, maybe I have to guess. I have to do something because I don't have that idea. I don't have that in my
Yeah.
mind. So I think that was helpful.
Bravo. So like an ordered way of thinking, like following strategy for you, everybody. So there's like when you get stuck, you know what to do next. You're not just rereading, looking back and forth, worrying. You're like, okay, I'm stuck here. Take a deep breath, go back to step one, then step two, then step three, guess, move on. So that gave you probably a sense of comfort to move through the exam efficiently.
Exactly. Yeah, and at the end, I think because of the practice that I got before, I think was like unconscious, So it was
Hmm.
like something that I was okay. I have to review in this part, in this part. So I think the practice is giving me that strength, that skill to go straight for the thing that I know that is the missing thing for answer the question, So I
Very
was like,
cool.
okay, I can go back and I can go back in this point or in this point. So I think that helped me.
Yeah,
Uh,
and you're an illustration too that as you work to improve the TOEFL, takes a lot of discipline and hard study because when you pass, you really are a TOEFL teacher. Like you're explaining things in such detail because that's what it takes for you to do it. So great illustration that, I mean, you don't improve 39 points without that kind of effort. And for
yeah.
the speaking, what did you find helped you most?
I think that helped me most was like I remember. So just to give you like a pre-context. So when I presented, so my previous TOEFL, so the third TOEFL that I took, I remember I studied from your material.
Hmm.
So I studied the speaking section because I found that you have a really good templates to follow,
Hmm.
and what was the information that I have to take in mind, So I did that. So at that moment, I got like 20 points for my speaking section. So I was like, okay, I am in track to get like a high score. But then I realized like I was doing well with that. So taking notes and everything because I was even doing like circles around the information and everything. But I realized like I think the connections, the make connections was the thing that I learned, you know so because that back and forth about what the person is saying and why the person is saying it, sometimes I was just reading my notes and not making any links or connection between the, for example, announcements or the things that the professor was saying. So I think making connections is very important. It's very important for succeed. I think I was struggling a bit because I still feel like nervous. I was like,
Hmm.
okay, I have to, but I
It's
think it's
hard.
practicing, it's keep practicing. And I
Yeah,
did like that in 3 weeks. I think
bravo.
like, yeah, something like 3 4 weeks was
Hard
like,
work, 24 hours a week. Yeah.
yeah, no, it was like 8 weeks actually, eight
8 weeks
weeks.
that you were, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, because
January and
we start
February.
on January 8th, and then my last day I studied was like I think was 2 days before my exam, my day of the exam. So it was like March 2nd.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was like almost 2 months. Yeah,
Super cool. And just to remind everybody, like, yeah, the idea is that when we learn to explain and raise our score on the speaking, there's a sometimes a habit to just speak nonstop, repeat information, and we
yeah,
forget we need to explain it. An explanation comes with connection, transitioning from one sentence to the other. How is what I'm saying now developing what I said earlier? And you found learning that really helpful to help raise your score.
yeah, yeah. I think that was the first thing, and the second thing is that I memorized the time. That I
Mm.
have to get by the second part of the template, the third, the fourth, and so on. So that was very helpful because I was like, okay, I am in the middle, I am in the last part, so I have been saying these kind of things in that moment. So if I didn't say all of the thing, I was like, no, I have to. I would rather to finish on time rather than get a lot of things and just finish in the.
Excellent job. Yeah, so it sounds like, and that's one of the biggest things, because of course I tell everybody I take the TOEFL too, so it's like I know the experience you're going through. And the time management is so important because it's like, okay, I'm answering in 60 seconds, let's say question number two. I see you've memorized, you're doing great. You do the froggy breathing, you see, oh, it's 43 seconds. I have to move on to the next part of my answer, even though I kind of didn't say all I wanted there. So we have an even answer, evenly developed as much as possible to raise our score. So great for you and everybody that sometimes these things are very hard to do. It's hard to sometimes remember to do the froggy breathing, hard to remember and to follow the time management. So wonderful that you did it and you're showing sometimes it's just you just have to do it even though you don't feel comfortable.
Yeah.
And for the writing, what did you find helped you most?
I will say for the writing section, I think the second question for me, I felt better for in the second question in the what is the name of this question, like independent question.
Hmm.
I think I did a good job this time because I we have the options to review. After you got the score, you have the opportunity to review what was the things that you missed, or if you are in a development, still development any skill, or if you really so get that skill already. So I realized like in the second question, I did it well. So I think your strategy about all of the 6 steps was really, really interesting because at the beginning, I was like, okay, I have the brainstorm about what the things I have I want to say, but the thing is like I don't know what is the structure that I have to follow for that, because as you said, it's always like academic structure, so it's like okay, everything has to make sense, everything has to have a structure, so it was
Hmm.
like okay, I have to follow something that can help me to show my ideas in a good way. So I think your step by step was really really nice. Because even I think the first 3 step was really easy to for me, was like okay, I have to say what I want to say, and I have to add some opinions about the students and everything. But the challenging part was the fourth and the other 3 steps was really challenging because I was like okay, I have to find yeah, everything to fill full those steps, but at
The
the end I think I did a good job.
example,
Example and
evidence, all
everything,
that.
yeah, and even the words, because all the time for me, I don't know why, but I think I am really, so I am improving in that, but I think I am skipping all of details because I think for me they are not very necessary, so I am very
Mm.
like consisting everything in
To
one
the
sentence
point.
to the point. So, but that is like a very like something a little bit bad because I want to get to my 160 words or 175, but I was almost like in 130, 140, 150. So I think was something that I can still improve
Yeah.
in that part, but I think I did a good job. And the other was like I remember the question that they made me that they asked me, and was something related with subjects that for me was to have to be prioritized in the high school. So for me, I chose like biology because
Uh-huh.
I think for my field of research, I can like do like make a good job like saying everything that I want to say in that field. I think
Yeah.
what that was helped me. That was helpful as well because I have in my okay, biology is important because all of these things. But I think the structure that I follow was good. Was good. I think that helped me a lot.
Wonderful. And you highlight another point like that's important for everybody. That structure because it helps you know what to do and it helps you trust if I do these things, it is what other people have done to succeed. And these things are difficult to do, but that's my job as a student to kind of, okay, now I know, let me work hard and the structure. And the second thing that I like that I just kind of sense a lot of those watching are getting inspired, enjoying this, maybe new to NoteFull, but maybe also familiar with other success stories that we posted. And a lot that share is what you said, where You answered question two about something you're passionate and connected to. Biology in high school, something you're familiar with. And that's a theme too, that when you're doing the speaking and writing, you're being honest, your full brain power, using your highest level of understanding and really expressing yourself. Did you did you do that? Did you find that was helpful also?
Yeah, I think that was helpful as well.
Good, good.
Mhm.
And so for me, I'm grateful and thrilled. We shared your amazing story. So everyone watching gets to celebrate and benefit. I got to congratulate you. The
Thank
hours
you.
of study, reading, listening, speaking, and writing. So you're helping people. They appreciate it. I say that for them and for myself. Anything that you wanted to share about the exam that you didn't get a chance to?
Mm, no, actually, I think no. I think is no. I think. I mean, the third time that I took it was like I had the idea, so everything changed because at that moment the TOEFL have changed on
Oh,
June
that
of the
was
last
when the
year.
TOEFL
So
changed
I
for you too.
yes, so I took it. So I was like, okay, I this is new for me. But I think from the previous TOEFLs that I took, for me, this one was more kind of like difficult. So the difficulty
Mm.
was a little bit hard, a little bit
It's
higher,
so fast too.
a little bit. I think so because I don't know, but in overall, I think is really edible. You know, if you still practicing and is practicing, for example, I realized in the reading that was one of my challenging sections. I realized like I have been able to read it better, and everything. But I think it's not of the TOEFL, it's just because of the improvement that I got. But I think uh, all the TOEFL is how to say that is
You can
it's
beat
something
it.
that yeah, you can beat it. Yes, of course. This is the other thing that helped me. Even I use Froggy, but I all the
Hmm.
time was like, I can do it, I can do it, because
Yeah.
this is something that I for all the time forgot on the previous test, and I was all the time like feeling like, oh no, this is not gonna be my
Hmm.
succeed time. And I think at the end everything convey to show that thing. If I feel that I am not gonna succeed, that's gonna be our last
Yeah.
our score. But then I was like, no, I can do it. I have been prepared myself to succeed. So yeah, I have been practicing a lot. I have been studying very hard. So I think that helped me. That was very powerful for me.
Good.
All the time
Good.
was like that. Yeah, yeah. And at the end, when I received at least the reading and listening section, I was almost crying.
Oh,
Even
yeah.
the person who was like it's like in charge of us, handle of us, was like, "Oh, are you okay?" And I
Oh,
was
at the
like,
test center.
"Yeah, yes, yeah." In the test center, yeah,
That's
yeah.
wonderful.
Yeah, but I was like, okay, I think at that moment I was like, okay, this is the time that this was my last time.
Ah, and I'm
Yeah,
happy it was. And
yeah,
so the like two quick more questions and we'll finish. I
sure.
appreciate your time. This last one is just something I always ask. If you had to do it all over again, I mean, your journey sounds great from beginning to end, intelligent and efficient. But if you could go back to when you first learned about the TOEFL, when you first took it, is there anything you would have done differently that would have helped you succeed faster or maybe have a better time that you would advise yourself back then or other students of?
Yeah, I will say maybe the time that I studied, I will increase the time hours. I mean, I think it's very important to practice and review everything that you don't understand and you get it. Reviewing that you say. I think practicing
Yeah.
is very, very important. I would say that the time is a key point, and I think is the other thing that I was worried about when I took my fourth test was like I have to calm down myself because that was the challenging part for me was all the time like that. I was like thinking in the environment, and I was not very focused on the exam. I have to, for example, if I understood something in the reading or listening, I have to review it again. Even in the exam, I was like, okay, I don't have to do that because everything is I am struggling with the time. Everything is time, time, time. So I was not focusing all. I was not focusing. So I was like, okay, maybe I have to get both, a professor to help me with the TOEFL, and maybe a psychologist to help me how to
Yeah.
calm down or something like that.
Yeah.
Because for me,
Probably
that
did
was
that.
one
Yeah.
of the things that
Yeah.
stuck, get me stuck all the time in the to don't improve. But then I was like, okay, I can do it. Everything that I mentioned previously, so I think I follow it, and this time I feel better. Even when I was talking it, I realized like the classroom when I was taking the exam was full of people, and I didn't realize when the people get
Oh,
inside and
you were so
nothing.
focused.
Yes, exactly. I was very focused. I was proud. I was like, okay, I can do it. I feel very, very powerful at that moment.
Yeah.
I think that
Yeah.
was one of the reasons that I will advise myself,
Of
like,
course.
trust in yourself. Yeah, trust
Yeah.
yourself, and yeah, keep studying, keep working hard.
Bravo. And so
Yeah.
my last statement, do you believe your classmates watching can do it too? Do you think they can beat the TOEFL?
Of course they can. I think everyone can. If you can, if I can, every single person can. There is everything is doable. If you put it like a goal, if you saw it like you will pass in the future, that's gonna happen. I think it's
Bravo.
just be very you have to be very willing to study for yourself. I think this is the key as well. I have more siblings, so I'm living here with more people, and all the time they are like very proud about me, or it's like,
Mm.
wow, I don't know how do you can study like by yourself. Because they was like, no, if they all the time told me like, if I don't study like in a center or something like that, and you are like focusing like in environment, like in a learning environment, they are not gonna very get focused on, they are not gonna learn anything. And they was like, it's very interesting how you can learn even though if we are passing through behind you and doing a lot of, very, yes. So I think this focus, and the other thing is like that I am very yeah, I was very willing to learn.
Yeah. Willing
Yeah,
to learn, willing to study.
study.
Keep that, and everyone you can pass to.
Yeah.
Laura, it was a pleasure. I'm grateful
you-
to you for the interview. One more time, congratulations. I
Thank you,
wish you success on this exciting journey of your master's degree, agricultural engineering, your passion. You get to move forward. Thank you, Laura. Thank you.
thank you, Joseph. Thank you, Joseph, for having me here. Is my pleasure that really to share this story with the people that are showing us, seeing
Yeah.
us. Sorry.
Bravo, Laura. You're going to help all your fellow classmates improving. Be well. I hope you stay in touch,
Yeah,
with
of
your
course.
professor or wherever you land. It would be great to hear from you. So until then, thank you, Laura.
Thank you, Joseph, for your time.
Bye bye,
Bye
Laura.
bye.